The stars look different out here. Jake Morrison pressed his hand against the cold window of the medical bay and stared into the endless black. 3 months ago, he had been working at a small clinic in Boston. Now he was on a ship called the Horizon, traveling to meet aliens for the first time in human history. Jake was a medic and a scientist who studied living things. He was 28 years old and had never expected to leave Earth. But when the government asked for volunteers to join the first contact mission, something inside him said yes. His mother had cried. His friends thought he was crazy. But Jake wanted to see what else was out there in the universe. The Valerians had sent the message 5 years ago. Their signal reached Earth and changed everything. They were friendly. They wanted to meet. They had technology far beyond anything humans had ever dreamed of. And now, after years of preparation, the Horizon was about to reach their home world. Captain Lisa Grant ran a tight ship. She was strict but fair, and everyone respected her. Ambassador Ben Carter was in charge of all the talking and diplomacy. He was nervous, though he tried to hide it. Everything had to go perfectly. One mistake could ruin humanity's chance at joining the larger universe. Jake checked his medical supplies for the 10th time that day. He had no idea what to expect. The Valerians had sent pictures and videos, but seeing them in person would be different. They looked almost human in shape, but their skin was like crystal. It seemed to shimmer and change colors with their moods. They were taller than humans, more elegant, and they moved like dancers. The announcement came over the speakers. All crew to stations. We are approaching Valerian space. Jake's heart raced. He left the medical bay and headed to the main deck. Other crew members rushed past him, all excited and nervous. This was it. First contact. Captain Grant stood at the command center, watching the screens. Status report, she said. Valerian ships approaching, someone called out. 3 vessels, they're sending a greeting. The screens showed sleek ships that looked like they were made of silver light. They were beautiful. Ambassador Carter stepped forward, straightening his uniform. Open communications. A face appeared on the screen. The Valerian had skin that glowed softly blue. Large eyes that seemed to see right through the camera. Welcome, humans of Earth. We are honored to meet you, Carter smiled. The honor is ours. We come in peace and friendship. We know, the Valerian said. We have watched your world for many years. You are young, but you have potential. We would like to begin our meeting with a gesture of trust. Our princess will board your ship. Everyone on the bridge went silent. A princess? Coming here? Carter looked shocked but recovered quickly. We would be honored to host her. An hour later, Jake stood in the docking bay with the rest of the crew. Everyone had cleaned up and put on their best uniforms. The Valerian shuttle was unlike anything Jake had ever seen. It made no sound as it landed. The door opened, and she stepped out. Princess Lyria was stunning. Her skin shifted between blue and purple, like the surface of a soap bubble. She wore flowing robes that seemed to be made of light itself. 4 guards walked behind her, tall and serious. They carried weapons that hummed with energy. Greetings, Lyria said. Her voice was musical. I am Lyria, daughter of Emperor Theron. I come to walk among you and learn of your people. Ambassador Carter bowed. Princess, welcome aboard the Horizon. We are grateful for your presence. Lyria smiled. Please, show me your ship. I wish to see how humans live among the stars. The tour began. Jake followed at a distance with the other crew members. Lyria asked questions about everything. She seemed genuinely interested in even the smallest details. How did humans cook their food? What did they do for fun? How did they handle conflicts? Captain Grant led her through the ship, explaining each section. They visited the sleeping quarters, the dining hall, the research labs. Lyria touched things carefully, her crystalline fingers gentle on human technology. Your ship is so different from ours, she said. Everything is metal and hard edges, but it feels honest, real. They reached the engineering section. This was where the ship's power came from. Large machines hummed and glowed. The chief engineer, a woman named Kate Simpson, explained how everything worked. Lyria stepped closer to one of the power cores, fascinated. "May I see the energy flow pattern?" Kate nodded and pressed some buttons. The core's protective shield lowered slightly so Lyria could see inside. That was when it happened. A pipe burst. No warning. Just a sudden crack and a spray of green gas. The radiation alarm screamed to life. "Everyone out!" Kate yelled. "Radiation leak." People ran. Guards shouted. But Lyria stood frozen, staring at something across the room. Jake followed her gaze and saw a young crew member, Pete Harris, trapped under a fallen beam. The gas was spreading toward him. Lyria moved faster than Jake thought possible. She ran through the green cloud and reached Pete. With strength that seemed impossible for her slim frame, she lifted the beam. "Go!" she commanded. Pete scrambled away. But Lyria had breathed in too much of the gas. She stumbled, and her skin started to change. The beautiful colors faded to a dark gray. Jake ran forward without thinking. He grabbed Lyria's arm and pulled her out of the contaminated area. Her guards rushed over, their faces full of horror. "Princess!" one guard cried. He caught her as she fell. Lyria's breathing was harsh and painful. Her skin turned darker with each second. The guard looked at Jake with eyes full of fear. "What have you done? This gas. It is poison to our kind." Captain Grant arrived, her face pale. "Get her to medical. Now." They carried Lyria through the corridors. Jake ran ahead to prepare the medical bay. His hands shook as he activated the equipment. He had no idea how to treat a Valerian. No one did. When they brought her in and laid her on the bed, Jake could see how bad it was. Her skin was almost black now. Her breathing came in short gasps. One of the guards, a male named Corin, stood over her with tears running down his face. "Can you save her?" he asked. Jake looked at the princess, at this being from another world who had risked her life to save a human she didn't even know. He thought about all his training, all his knowledge. None of it prepared him for this. "I'll try," Jake said. "I promise I'll try." But deep down, he had no idea where to even start. Jake's hands moved quickly over the medical scanner. The machine beeped and flashed, showing him things he barely understood. Princess Lyria lay on the bed, her once beautiful crystalline skin now dark and dull. Each breath she took sounded painful. The Valerian guard named Corin stood beside him, watching every move. "Her cells are breaking down," he said quietly. "The radiation you humans can survive destroys our biology. She has perhaps 6 of your hours left. Maybe less. 6 hours." Jake felt sick. He looked at the scanner results again. The princess's blood was literally falling apart at a molecular level. It was like watching a building collapse in slow motion. "We need to contact your medical facilities," Jake said. "They'll know how to treat her." Corin shook his head. "The nearest Valarian medical station is 3 days away. Even at our fastest speed, she will not survive the journey." Captain Grant stood in the doorway. Her face was tight with worry. "Morrison, what do you need?" "Information," Jake said. "I need to know everything about Valerian biology. Right now, I'm working blind." "We're setting up a communication link with their chief medical advisor," Grant said. "He should be online in 5 minutes." Those 5 minutes felt like hours. Jake tried everything he could think of. He gave Lyria oxygen. He tried to stabilize her temperature. Nothing worked. The darkness spread across her skin like spilled ink. Finally, the screen in the medical bay lit up. A Valerian face appeared. He was older, his skin a deep silver color. "I am Healer Ven. Show me the patient." Jake turned the screen toward Lyria. Ven's expression fell. "By the light," he whispered. "Advanced radiation poisoning." "How long has she been exposed?" 20 minutes, Jake said. "Then there is little time. You must synthesize compound Theta 7. It will bond with her blood and stop the breakdown. Jake pulled up his chemical database. How do I make it? Ven began listing ingredients. Jake's hope faded with each word. I don't have most of these, he said. We don't have the equipment to create them either. Then she will die, Ven said simply. I am sorry. There is nothing else that can save her. The connection ended. Jake stood there, feeling helpless. Corin made a sound that might have been a sob. The other guards stood silent, their heads bowed. Ambassador Carter rushed into the medical bay. Tell me you can save her. If the princess dies on our ship, it will mean war. The Valarians will think we killed her on purpose. I don't care about politics right now, Jake snapped. I care about saving her life. Carter's face reddened, but he nodded and left. Jake turned back to Lyria. She opened her eyes slightly. They had lost their glow. Human, she whispered. What is your name? Jake. Jake Morrison. Jake. She tried to smile. Do not blame yourself. I chose to save your crew member. It was the right thing to do. And now you're dying because of it, Jake said bitterly. Then I die with honor. Her eyes closed again. Jake refused to accept it. He went back to his computer and pulled up every scan he had taken. There had to be something. Some way to help her. He compared human blood to what he could see of Valarian blood. They were so different. Human blood used iron to carry oxygen. Valarian blood used something else entirely. Something that glowed with a soft light. The radiation had destroyed that light-carrying compound. But wait. Jake leaned closer to the screen. There was something in the comparison that looked odd. He ran the analysis again. Human blood had trace amounts of something similar to the Valarian compound. Not the same, but related. Like cousins. Jake's mind raced. Could it work? It seemed impossible. Mixing human and alien blood should kill both of them. But he had noticed something else. In his test samples, when he mixed a drop of his blood with Lyrian blood, the Valarian cells stopped breaking down as fast. They actually stabilized for a few seconds before dying. Jake ran more tests. Each one showed the same thing. Human blood contained something that Valarian blood recognized. Something that could, maybe, possibly, replace what the radiation had destroyed. Corin, Jake said. What happens if I give her my blood? The guard looked horrified. You cannot. Mixing blood between species is forbidden in our culture. It is seen as corrupting the purity of our bodies. But would it work? Corin was silent for a long moment. I do not know. No one has ever tried. The taboo is too strong. Jake looked at his test results again. The numbers didn't lie. This might work. Or it might kill both of them. But doing nothing would definitely kill Lyria. I want to try, Jake said. You could die, Corin warned. She's definitely going to die if I don't. Captain Grant had been listening from the doorway. Morrison, I can't order you to do this. It's too dangerous. You're not ordering me, Captain. I'm volunteering. Why? Grant asked. You don't know her. She's an alien. Why risk your life? Jake thought about that. He looked at Lyria, barely breathing on the bed. She had saved Pete without thinking twice. She hadn't seen a human and an alien. She had seen someone in danger. Because it's the right thing to do, Jake said. Isn't that enough? Grant was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. Okay. But I'm documenting that this was your choice. Jake began setting up the transfusion equipment. His hands shook slightly as he inserted the IV into his own arm. Corin watched. His expression unreadable. Even if this works, Corin said, there will be consequences. In our culture, sharing blood creates a bond. A connection. You would be linked to the princess. Forever. I'll deal with that if we both survive, Jake said. He moved to Lyria and carefully inserted the second IV into her arm. Her skin felt cool and smooth, like touching glass. He connected the tubes and checked the flow. Last chance to back out, Captain Grant said softly. Jake looked at the princess. At this, being from another world who had shown such courage. He thought about all the reasons this was a terrible idea. Then, he thought about how he would feel if he didn't try. "Start the transfusion," he said. Grant pressed the button. Jake watched his blood flow through the clear tube toward Lyria's arm. It looked so red against her gray skin. At first, nothing happened. Then Jake felt a strange warmth spreading through his body. It wasn't painful, just odd, like drinking hot tea on a cold day. But everywhere at once, Lyria's monitors beeped faster. Her skin began to change. The dark gray started to lighten slightly. Just a shade. "It's working," Corin breathed. But then Jake felt the warmth turn to heat. His vision blurred. His heart raced. Something in Lyria's blood was affecting him too. The room started to spin. "Morrison?" Grant's voice sounded far away. "Jake, are you okay?" He wanted to answer, but his mouth wouldn't work. The heat became pain. It felt like his blood was boiling in his veins. Every cell in his body screamed. Through the pain, Jake heard the monitors. Lyria's heartbeat was getting stronger. The transfusion was working. She was going to live. That thought was his last before the darkness took him. Jake woke up to the sound of beeping. His whole body ached like he had been hit by a truck. He tried to move and immediately regretted it. Every muscle felt heavy and sore. "Easy," a voice said. Captain Grant appeared above him. "Don't try to sit up yet. You've been unconscious for 18 hours. 18 hours? Jake's memories came flooding back. The transfusion. The pain. Lyria. "The princess?" he croaked. His throat was dry. Grant smiled. "Alive. You saved her." Relief washed over Jake so strongly that he felt tears in his eyes. She was alive. It had worked. He tried to sit up again, moving slower this time. Grant helped him, adjusting the bed so he could lean back. Jake looked around the medical bay. In the bed next to his, Princess Lyria lay sleeping. Her skin had returned to its beautiful crystalline shimmer, though it seemed different somehow. Softer. Maybe. Less bright. Her chest rose and fell with steady breathing. "She woke up about 6 hours ago," Grant said. "Asked about you first thing. The guards told her what you did. She wanted to stay here until you woke up. But her body needed rest." Jake noticed Corin standing in the corner, watching him carefully. The Valerian guard stepped forward. "You have done something no one in the history of either our species has ever done. You have given your life essence to save one of us." "I didn't give my life," Jake said. "Just some blood. To us, it is the same thing. Blood carries the essence of who we are. You have mixed your essence with the princess. This creates a bond that cannot be broken." Jake wasn't sure what that meant, but he was too tired to ask. He looked at Lyria again. Even sleeping, she looked peaceful. So different from the dying woman he had seen before. "How much blood did we exchange?" Jake asked. "Approximately 1 liter, Grant said. "Your body handled it better than we expected, though your blood chemistry has changed slightly." "Changed how?" "We're not entirely sure yet. Dr. Helen Shaw has been running tests." Grant gestured to a woman Jake hadn't noticed before. She was studying a computer screen with intense focus. Helen looked up. "Your blood now carries trace amounts of the Valerian light compound. It's integrated into your cells. We have no idea what the long-term effects will be." "And the princess?" "Her blood now contains human iron. It seems to have stabilized her completely. In fact, she might be stronger than before. The combination has created something new in both of you." Jake absorbed this information. He had changed on a cellular level. So had Lyria. They were connected now, in a way that went beyond normal understanding. A soft sound made him look over. Lyria was waking up. Her eyes opened slowly, and when she saw Jake, they widened. She sat up quickly. Too quickly. Her guards rushed forward to help her, but she waved them away. "Jake," she said. Her voice was stronger now, filled with emotion. "You are awake. You are awake. So are you," he said. How do you feel? Alive. Because of you. She stood up, a bit shaky, and walked to his bed. Her guards looked uncomfortable but didn't stop her. She reached out and took his hand. The moment their skin touched, Jake felt something strange. A rush of emotion that wasn't his own. Gratitude. Wonder. Curiosity. And beneath it all, a deep sense of connection. He could feel what she was feeling. From Lyria's expression, she felt it too. The bond, she whispered. It is real. I can feel you. I can feel you too, Jake said. It should have been frightening, but it wasn't. It felt natural, like finding a missing piece of himself. Corin stepped forward. Princess, this is unprecedented. The mixing of blood has created an empathic link. You must inform your father. Lyria looked worried for the first time. My father. He will not understand. This breaks every tradition of our people. What will happen? Jake asked. I do not know. The sharing of blood is forbidden because of what we believed it would do. Create confusion. Weaken us. But I do not feel weak. I feel stronger. She looked at her hands. Something has changed in me. I can feel it. Helen Shaw came over with her scanner. May I check you both? They agreed. Helen ran the scanner over Lyria first, then Jake. Her eyes widened as she read the results. This is remarkable. Your cellular structures have adapted to each other. Jake's body is producing small amounts of the light compound now. And Princess, your body is using iron more efficiently than before. What does that mean? Grant asked. It means they've improved each other, Helen said. The human and Valarian biologies have found a way to work together, each one filling in what the other lacks. Ambassador Carter entered the room. He looked stressed. Princess, I've just received word from your father. He knows what happened. He's demanding to speak with you immediately. Lyria's fear spiked. Jake felt it through their connection and squeezed her hand without thinking. She looked at him, and some of the fear faded. I will speak with him. Jake should be there too. Me? Jake said. Why? Because you are part of this now. The bond we share means we face consequences together. They set up the communication in the conference room. Jake felt weak, but he refused to stay in bed. He walked slowly, with Grant supporting him on one side. Lyria walked on his other side, and through their connection, he felt her lending him strength somehow. The screen came to life. Emperor Theron appeared. He was massive, nearly 8 feet tall, even sitting down. His skin was a deep purple, almost black. His eyes burned with anger. Lyria, he said. His voice was like thunder. Is it true? Did you allow a human to contaminate your blood? Lyria stood straight. Father, I was dying. Jake Morrison saved my life. By breaking our oldest law, the mixing of blood with other species is forbidden. It has been forbidden for 10,000 years. And in those 10,000 years, has anyone ever tried it? Lyria asked. Or did we simply assume it would be harmful? Do not question our traditions, daughter. I question a tradition that would have let me die rather than accept help. Lyria's voice was strong. Jake risked his own life to save mine. He did not know if the transfusion would work. He did not know if he would survive. But he tried anyway, because it was the right thing to do. Theron's eyes moved to Jake. Human, you have created a situation that could destroy the peace between our peoples. Jake felt his own anger rise. With respect, Emperor, I created a situation where your daughter is alive. If that destroys peace, then your peace wasn't worth much to begin with. Grant gasped. Carter looked like he might faint. But Lyria smiled. Through their bond, Jake felt her pride in him. Theron was silent for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he laughed. You have courage, human. Foolish courage, perhaps. But courage nonetheless. His expression grew serious again. What is done cannot be undone. The bond you have created is permanent. Do you understand what this means? The noun. No, Jake admitted. but I'm willing to learn. It means you are connected to the royal family of Valaria now. Your fate and my daughter's fate are intertwined. Where she goes, you must follow. What affects her affects you. Jake looked at Lyria. Through their bond, he felt her hope mixed with worry. I can accept that, he said. Can you? Theron leaned forward. Can you leave your world behind? Your people? Everything you know? Because that is what this bond may demand. Quote, Jake thought about Earth, his home, his mother, his old life. Then he thought about what he had felt when he saved Lyria. The certainty that it was right. The connection they now shared. I guess I'll find out, Jake said. The Horizon continued its journey to the Valerian home world. For the next 2 days, Jake recovered in the medical bay. But he wasn't alone. Lyria stayed nearby, and through their bond, they learned about each other in ways that words could never achieve. Jake discovered that the empathic connection went both ways. He could feel Lyria's emotions as clearly as his own. Her joy felt like sunlight. Her worry felt like rain. And she could feel him too. At first it was overwhelming. Having someone else's feelings mixed with his own made Jake dizzy and confused. You must learn to separate them, Lyria told him. They sat together in the observation room, watching the stars go by. Your emotions and mine. Feel the difference between them. Jake closed his eyes and tried. There was nervousness in his chest. But when he focused, he realized it wasn't his nervousness. It was hers. His own feeling was more like curiosity. I think I've got it, he said. Good, Lyria smiled. It will become easier with time. The bond is still new and strong. Eventually it will settle into the background unless we focus on it. Has this ever happened before? With your people? Yes, but only between Valerians. When 2 of our kind mix blood in a healing ceremony, they become bonded. It is considered a sacred thing. But it has never happened between species. Jake felt the weight of what they had done. Your father said I might have to leave Earth. Was he serious? Lyria's sadness washed over him. The bond means we cannot be separated for long periods. If we are apart for more than a few months, we both become ill. It is the price of the connection. So I really might have to stay on your world? Or I might have to stay on yours. We will find a balance. She took his hand. Through the touch, the emotions grew stronger. He felt her determination, her hope. Jake, I know you did not ask for this. You were trying to save my life. I am sorry if the bond has trapped you. You're not a trap, Jake said. And he meant it. Yes. His life had changed completely. Yes. He might never go home again. But when he felt her presence in his mind, it didn't feel like a burden. It felt like belonging to something larger than himself. Dr. Helen Shaw ran more tests on both of them. The results fascinated her. Your bodies are adapting to each other at a cellular level, she explained. Jake, your blood is now producing the light compound that Valerians need. Not enough to survive on, but enough to supplement. And Princess, your body is doing the same with iron. What does that mean practically? Jake asked. It means you're becoming more compatible. The bond isn't just emotional, it's physical. Your bodies are literally changing to be more like each other. Lyria looked at her hands. In certain lights, Jake could see the faint shimmer that hadn't been there before. And when he looked at his own skin, there was a subtle glow that seemed to come from within. Are we still human and Valerian? Lyria asked quietly. Yes, Helen said. But you're also something new, something in between. The news spread through the ship. Some crew members were excited. Others were worried. Jake heard the whispers when he walked through the corridors. Freak. Alien lover. Traitor. But others looked at him with respect. Hero. Pioneer. Bridge between worlds. Pete Harris, the young crew member Lyria had saved, visited Jake in the medical bay. He was only 19, barely old enough to be on the ship, his hands twisted nervously. "I wanted to thank you," he said. "The princess saved me, and you saved her. I owe you both my life." "You don't owe us anything," Jake said. "We just did what anyone should do." "But not everyone would," Pete said. "That's what makes it special." On the third day after the transfusion, the Horizon entered Valerian space. Jake stood on the bridge with Lyria, watching their destination grow larger on the screen. The planet was beautiful, blue and green like Earth, but with rings that sparkled like diamonds. "My home," Lyria said softly. Through the bond, Jake felt her mixture of excitement and fear. "I have been gone for 2 months. It feels like years. What will happen when we land?" Jake asked. "My father will want to see us immediately. The council will want to study the bond. And my people." She paused. "They will not know what to think of you." Captain Grant joined them. "Princess, we've received landing coordinates. We'll be on the surface in 3 hours. Those 3 hours passed too quickly. Jake changed into his formal uniform. His hands shook as he buttoned it. Through the bond, he felt Lyria doing the same in her quarters. Her nervousness matched his own. When the Horizon landed, Jake got his first real look at a Valerian city. It was incredible. Buildings that looked like they were made of crystal reached toward the sky. Lights flowed through them like water. Valerians moved through the streets in graceful crowds. Everything seemed to glow with soft light. An honor guard waited at the landing pad. 50 Valerian soldiers in armor that shimmered like oil on water. They bowed as Lyria descended from the ship. Ambassador Carter and Captain Grant walked with her. Jake followed a few steps behind, feeling out of place. The Valerians stared at him. He heard whispers in their musical language. Through the bond, Lyria translated without speaking. They were calling him the Blood-Sharer, the human who broke the taboo. Some voices held wonder, others held disgust. A grand vehicle waited for them. It floated above the ground without any visible means of support. They climbed inside, and it carried them through the city. Jake pressed his face to the window, trying to see everything. The buildings, the people, the gardens filled with plants that seemed to sing. "It's amazing," he breathed. Lyria smiled. "Wait until you see the palace." The palace was beyond words. It rose from the center of the city like a mountain made of light. Towers and bridges connected in ways that seemed to defy physics. Waterfalls of pure energy flowed down its sides. Jake had never felt so small. Inside, servants rushed forward to greet Lyria. They touched their foreheads in respect. Their eyes kept darting to Jake, curious and wary. Lyria spoke to them in Valerian, and Jake felt her explaining who he was and what he had done. Finally, they reached the throne room. The doors opened to reveal a hall so vast it could have held a football stadium. At the far end, on a throne of crystalline light, sat Emperor Theron. He was even more imposing in person. Power radiated from him like heat from a fire. Lyria walked forward. Jake followed. His heart pounded so hard he thought everyone could hear it. They stopped at the base of the throne and bowed. "Rise," Theron commanded. His voice filled the hall. "Let me see this human who has bonded with my daughter." Jake stood straight and met the Emperor's eyes. It took all his courage not to look away. Theron studied him for a long moment. Then he stood and walked down from his throne. Up close, he towered over Jake by more than 2 feet. "You saved my daughter's life," Theron said. "Yes, Your Majesty." "You broke our oldest law to do it." "Yes, Your Majesty." "And you would do it again?" Jake didn't hesitate. "Yes." Theron's expression was unreadable. Then, slowly, he smiled. "Good. A person who will not stand by their choices is not worth knowing." He turned to the assembled court. "This human has proven his worth. He risked everything to save one of us. From this day forward, he is under the protection of the royal family. Any who harm him, answer to me." The court murmured. Through the bond, Jake felt Lyria's relief and pride. Theron placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. The touch sent a strange tingling through Jake's body. You have changed both our worlds with your choice, Jake Morrison. I do not yet know if it is for better or worse. But change has come, and we must face it together. He looked at Lyria. Daughter, take Jake to the healing center. Our scientists wish to study this bond you share. If there is something to be learned from it, we must understand it fully. As they left the throne room, Jake felt the eyes of the entire court on his back. His life had changed forever. He was no longer just a human medic from Earth. He was something new, something unknown, and through the bond, with Lyria beside him, he felt ready to discover what that meant. The Valerian Healing Center looked more like a temple than a hospital. Soft light filled every room. The air smelled of something sweet and clean. Healers in flowing robes moved silently through the halls. When Lyria and Jake arrived, the head healer, a woman named Sira, greeted them with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Princess, we are honored, Sira said. And this is the human who shares your blood? This is Jake Morrison, Lyria confirmed. We have come to be studied, as my father commanded. Over the next week, Jake and Lyria underwent countless tests. The healers drew blood, scanned their bodies with devices Jake didn't understand, and asked endless questions. How did the bond feel? When could they sense each other? Did their bodies feel different? The results amazed everyone. The bond was not just emotional or spiritual. It was biological. Jake's body now produced cells that were part human and part Valerian. The same was true for Lyria. They were literally becoming bridges between their species. But the most surprising discovery came when they tested Jake's blood on other Valerians. The scientists exposed volunteers to small amounts of radiation, the same type that had nearly killed Lyria. When they gave those volunteers transfusions of Jake's blood, they recovered quickly. Your blood has become a universal treatment, Sira explained. The mixture of human and Valerian biology creates antibodies that work for both species. You could save countless lives. Jake sat in stunned silence. Me? I'm just a medic from Earth. You are far more than that now, Sarah said. You are hope. The word spread quickly through the Valerian world. The human who could heal. The blood sharer. People began to see Jake differently, not as a strange alien who had broken their laws, but as someone who had brought them a gift. Emperor Theron summoned Jake and Lyria to his private chambers. The room was smaller than the throne hall, but no less impressive. Windows overlooked the entire city. Theron stood looking out at his kingdom. I have been thinking about what your bond means, he said without turning around. For thousands of years, my people have kept ourselves separate from others. We believed our biology was too pure to mix, but you have shown us that mixing can make us stronger, not weaker. He turned to face them. I want you to establish a research center. Here, on Valaria. A place where humans and Valarians can work together to study this new biology you have created. We must learn everything we can. Your Majesty, Jake said. I'm honored, but I'm not a researcher. I'm just a medic. You are the first of your kind, Theron said. That makes you the most important teacher we have. Others will come after you. Humans and Valerians, working together. Learning from each other. You will show them the way. Lyria stepped forward. Father, if we do this, Jake cannot do it alone. He will need support from Earth, from his own people. Theron nodded. I have already spoken with your Ambassador Carter. Earth has agreed to send scientists and medical personnel. They are as eager to study this bond as we are. Over the next month, the research center took shape. It was built at the edge of the palace grounds, a building that combined human and Valerian design. Straight lines met with flowing curves, metal joined with crystal. It was beautiful and strange, just like the partnership it represented. Scientists from Earth arrived on transport ships. Among them was Dr. Karen Lopez, a blood specialist who had studied alien biology for years. She looked at Jake like he was the most fascinating puzzle she had ever seen. I need samples, she said immediately. Blood, tissue, everything. We need to understand how this happened at a cellular level. Jake spent hours in the lab with her and the Valerian healers. They took so many samples he started to feel like a pincushion. But the research was worth it. They discovered that the key to the bond was in human adaptability. Human cells were remarkably flexible, able to adjust to new environments quickly. When combined with Valerian cells, which were stable but fragile, they created something perfect. Stability with adaptability. It's like you complete each other, Karen said. Humans are tough, but simple. Valerians are elegant, but vulnerable. Together, you're both. The research caught the attention of other species in the galaxy. The Valerians had many allies and trading partners. When word spread that humans could help with radiation sickness, requests for aid began pouring in. A colony of Valerians on a distant moon had been exposed to radiation from a solar flare. They were dying. Jake volunteered immediately. He took a small ship with Lyria and a medical team. When they arrived, the colony was in chaos. Over 100 Valerians were sick, their skin turning dark. Jake worked for 3 days straight, transfusion after transfusion. His own blood, combined with medical treatments, saved 98 of them. The 2 they lost had been exposed too heavily. Too long. Jake felt their deaths like physical blows. You cannot save everyone, Lyria told him quietly. She held him while he cried. But you saved so many. Focus on that. News of the rescue spread across the galaxy. Suddenly, humanity was known for more than just being newcomers to the stars. They were known as healers, as helpers, as a species willing to risk themselves for others. More humans volunteered to come to Valeria. Not just scientists, but teachers, engineers, artists. They wanted to be part of this new partnership, and Valerians began to visit Earth, curious about the world that had produced someone like Jake. 6 months after the first transfusion, the research center opened officially. Emperor Theron gave a speech to both species, broadcast across space. We stand at the beginning of a new age, he said. An age where our differences make us stronger. Where what we can do together is greater than what we can do apart. This center represents hope. Hope for healing. Hope for understanding. Hope for the future. Jake stood next to Lyria as they cut the ribbon. Through their bond, he felt her happiness and pride, but also her love. Somewhere in the past months, what had started as a life-saving necessity had become something deeper. They had grown to care for each other, not because of the bond, but in spite of it. I never expected this, Jake told her later. They stood on a balcony overlooking the city. When I volunteered for the Horizon, I thought I'd just be doing medical work. Maybe meeting some aliens. I never thought I'd change the galaxy. You changed my galaxy when you decided to save me, Lyria said. Everything else followed from that one choice. One moment of compassion. Do you regret it? The bond, I mean. Having to share everything with me? Lyria took his hand. I regret nothing. You gave me my life back, and in doing so, you gave both our peoples a future they never imagined. A message came through on Jake's communicator. It was from Earth. His mother's face appeared on the screen, smiling and crying at the same time. Jake. Honey. I just saw the news. I'm so proud of you. When are you coming home? Jake looked at Lyria, then at the Valerian city spread out before him, then back at his mother. I am home, Mom. Just a different one than I expected, his mother understood. Then I'm coming to visit. I want to see this world of yours, and meet this princess I keep hearing about. After the call ended, Jake realized something. He wasn't torn between 2 worlds anymore. He existed in both. Human and Valerian. Earth and Valeria. The bond had made him a bridge, and bridges belonged to both sides. More species began requesting help from the center. Treatments were developed for radiation sickness, blood disorders, genetic diseases. Jake's unique biology became the basis for dozens of medical breakthroughs. Other humans volunteered for bonding ceremonies with Valarians, creating more bridges between the species. A year after that first transfusion, Jake stood in the research center's main hall. Around him, humans and Valarians worked side by side. They laughed together, learned together, saved lives together. The barriers between them had fallen. Lyria joined him. She wore the robes of her office now, but she still made time for the research center. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "About how one decision can change everything," Jake said. "I saw you dying, and I just reacted. I didn't think about politics or culture or consequences. I just knew I had to try. And that is why it worked," Lyria said. "True change comes from the heart, not the head. You did not save me because it was logical. You saved me because it was right." An alarm sounded. Not an emergency, but a notification. A new ship had arrived from Earth. More volunteers. More people ready to build bridges between worlds. Jake and Lyria walked to the landing pad to greet them. Among the new arrivals, Jake saw doctors, scientists, teachers, even some children. Families willing to make Valaria their home, just like he had. As the sun set over the crystal city, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, Jake thought about the future. There would be challenges. Not everyone on Earth or Valaria was happy about the growing partnership. Some feared change, some clung to old prejudices, but they were outnumbered by those who saw the possibilities. "We started something, didn't we?" Jake said to Lyria. "We did," she agreed. "And it is only the beginning." Years later, when people asked Jake why he did it, why he risked his life for an alien princess, his answer was always simple. "Because she needed help, and I could give it. That's all that mattered. The rest was just details." But those details had changed the galaxy. They had proven that different species could become stronger together. That barriers existed only until someone was brave enough to cross them. That compassion had no boundaries. And it all started with one human medic who saw someone dying and refused to let it happen. Who gave his blood and created a bond that would link two worlds forever. The alien princess had been dying until the human gave his blood and saved her. And in saving her, he saved so much more.